Mountains versus amusements. Cozy cabin vibes versus neon-lit attractions. The Smoky Mountain Gateway versus the action-packed Strip. Today we're putting Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge head-to-head to see how they really compare. We're breaking it down by attractions, food, getting around, places to stay, weather, and overall budget. So you can decide which one actually fits your travel style best. Is it the artsy mountain town wrapped in misty views, or the thrill ride capital packed with dinner shows and Dollywood? Stay tuned, because the answer isn't as simple as you might think. Attractions and culture. Let's start with attractions and culture in Gatlinburg. When you're traveling to a town, you need somewhere to visit, and Gatlinburg doesn't disappoint. One of the town's most iconic stops is the Gatlinburg Space Needle. It's a tall observation tower rising above downtown that locals and visitors alike use as a sort of compass for the town. It's 407 feet tall and gives you jaw-dropping 360-degree views of the city and the Smoky Mountains beyond. Plus, there's fun to be had on the ground too, with an arcade and even an escape room tucked inside its base. But let's say you're after a uniquely Smoky Mountain experience that's all about local flavor. Then you'll want to mention Old Smoky Distillery in downtown Gatlinburg. This spot isn't just a tasting room for corn whiskey. At this distillery, you can actually watch the moonshine being made and learn about how this craft grew out of the region's history. In fact, from 2020 to 2022, it was the most visited distillery in the world. But Gatlinburg isn't just about high viewpoints or moonshine. It has a quirky side too. Take the Museum of Salt and Pepper Shakers, home to more than 20,000 pairs from around the world. When you visit Gatlinburg, you'll notice that the culture is anchored in the Appalachian roots of the Smoky Mountains. This isn't just marketing talk. The town grew from early 19th century settlers and later became a hub for preserving mountain arts, crafts, and traditions, like folk music and handmade pottery. You'll find that heritage woven through the local galleries, the historical sites like old cabins, and even in seasonal events and community music. It's a warm-hearted blend of mountain history and southern hospitality that you really feel in the streets and shops. But Pigeon Forge has its perks too. Now let's look at attractions and culture in Pigeon Forge. One place you'll hear everyone talk about is Dollywood. This theme park isn't just another amusement park, it's one of the biggest attractions in Tennessee, drawing nearly 4 million visitors every year with its mix of thrilling roller coasters, live music, crafts, and southern hospitality. The park reflects the spirit of the Smokies and celebrates the life and music of Dolly Parton, whose roots here give the whole place a real sense of heart and personality. But if you're not big on amusement parks and you like history and immersive storytelling, then the Titanic Museum in Pigeon Forge is a standout experience. Shaped like the ship itself, this museum houses about 400 authentic artifacts and lets you walk through recreated spaces from the famous liner's doomed 1912 voyage. Then there's the Island in Pigeon Forge, a lively entertainment complex that's perfect if you want variety in one spot. At its center is the Great Smoky Mountain Wheel, towering high above the parkway and offering great views. But around it, you'll find shops, restaurants, dancing fountains, and live music. It's a place where families, couples, and solo travelers can all find something fun to do without ever leaving the grounds. And unlike the quieter, nature-oriented vibe you might find up the road in Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge leans into big-town fun in a small-town setting. The culture here blends classic Smoky Mountain themes, like live music, southern food, and folklore, with a more commercial, entertainment-focused energy. Dinner shows, interactive museums, and family attractions are part of the rhythm here, and you'll notice that locals and visitors alike embrace that playful, tourist-friendly spirit. Many people come specifically for those shows and themed experiences that you won't find anywhere else. So if you ask us, there's a clear winner when it comes to attractions. With all of the glitz and glamour, as well as its rich history and culture, Pigeon Forge takes the cake. It gives you entertainment and variety right alongside the Smoky Mountains. But what if you have all those attractions and no way to get to them? Getting around. Next up, let's talk about getting around Gatlinburg. Once you arrive in Gatlinburg, you'll quickly notice that downtown is very walk-friendly, which is not the case for most American towns, where you need cars just to move from one spot to another. Most of the attractions, restaurants, and shops you want to hit are all lined up along the parkway, in about a mile of easy strolling territory. You don't have to drive from place to place in that core area, and plenty of visitors simply park and wander from spot to spot on foot. But if walking isn't your thing, or if you want to skip circling for parking, there's a unique local solution. The Gatlinburg Trolley. This city-run trolley service runs 365 days of the year and is free. You can even use park-and-ride lots on the edge of town and hop a trolley straight into downtown, which is a real stress saver during peak travel times. That said, the trolley only sticks within Gatlinburg city limits, so if your plans include heading deeper into the Great Smoky Mountains National Park or cruising over to Pigeon Forge, you're going to want your own set of wheels. Most travelers still rent a car. Some choose to drive all the way from Knoxville's airport. Others pick one up nearby. The choice is yours. Just be warned. Traffic in town can get busy, especially on weekends and during peak season, so even locals recommend planning extra time if you're driving around. Parking in downtown garages or lots usually costs a bit, whereas walking in the trolley let you move around without paying for every stop. Now let's compare that with getting around Pigeon Forge. Once you roll into Pigeon Forge, you'll notice something right away. The town is stretched out along a long 6-lane strip called the Parkway that runs for about 5 miles, and most of the attractions and restaurants are spread along that stretch. That means, unlike small downtown areas where everything's clustered together, the walk from one spot to the next can be long and traffic-heavy. So it isn't super walkable between every destination the way Gatlinburg's downtown is. Now you can get around without driving your own car, thanks to the Fun Time Trolley system that serves Pigeon Forge and even connects with Sevierville and Dollywood. These trolleys run year-round, except for Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day, on multiple routes stopping at places like Patriot Park, Dollywood, and along the Parkway. And you can hop on and off at dozens of stops for a small fare or an all-day pass. They're wheelchair accessible too, so they work for pretty much anyone who wants to use them. That said, the trolley isn't a magic bullet. It's fun and economical, but in practice, many travelers find it slow and a bit unpredictable during busy seasons because it makes lots of stops. This is exactly why most visitors still choose to rent a car. Pigeon Forge's attractions are spread out, and having your own vehicle gives you the freedom to move at your own pace, explore side streets or nearby towns, and get in and out of traffic when you need to. And on top of all that, parking is cheap and plentiful, so there's no need to ride the Fun Time Trolley. Walking does work well within pockets of the town. Sure, places like the Island or the Old Mill area are easy to stroll and enjoyable without wheels. But don't expect to hoof it like you might in a more compact city center. So in the final verdict, I'm going to say that Gatlinburg is the better choice when it comes to transportation. Everything's clustered together, it's walkable, and you don't need a car. Unless you're visiting the national park. That's 1-1. So let's compare food. Food. All right, let's talk food in Gatlinburg. When you're talking food, we have to start with breakfast or brunch. And nothing says good food like a big line out the front door. This is where Crockett's Breakfast Camp is a must-mention. Here you'll find hearty Southern-style morning fare. We're talking big platters of pancakes, eggs, and grits. And all of it served in a cozy, lodge-style setting that feels just right after a Smoky Mountain sunrise. It's classic Gatlinburg comfort food that's become an institution. For a relaxed lunch while wandering the shops, Tennessee Jed's Downtown Sandwich Shop is a standout. Famous for its handcrafted sandwiches, like a Reuben piled high with slow-cooked meats, this casual spot is perfect when you want something quick and satisfying before heading back out to explore the Strip. If you're craving something heartier for dinner, Cherokee Grill and Steakhouse is a great place to slow down and enjoy an evening meal. Here, steaks and seafood meet upscale comfort, from grilled sirloin to rich seafood entrees, all served in a warm, rustic, yet refined atmosphere right in the heart of town. Another dinner favorite, especially if you're in the mood for Southern-style barbecue with a local twist, is Myron Mixon Barbecue Company, Gatlinburg. Known for smoky, juicy meats and classic barbecue sides, this spot brings the authentic taste of Southern barbecue to your Smoky Mountain vacation without pretense. And let's not forget dessert, or a sweet snack while you're strolling past the Smoky Mountains Creperie, which serves up sweet and savory crepes, pastries, and coffee that make for a perfect break between sightseeing stops. And we won't even mention the Heirloom Room, the Donut Fryer, or the Smoky Mountain Trout House, which means Pigeon Forge has a hard lineup to beat when it comes to food. Now here's what the food scene looks like in Pigeon Forge. One of the most iconic spots you'll hear locals and visitors rave about is the Old Mill Restaurant, nestled in a historic grist mill right by the water. Here you'll find hearty southern favorites like fried chicken, country fried steak, and biscuits made with flour milled on site, giving you that real Smoky Mountain comfort food experience. For something a little more modern and farm-to-table, Local Goat has become a go-to in Pigeon Forge for visitors who want fresh, locally sourced dishes. Their menu mixes chef-crafted burgers, creative salads, and seasonal entrees with a lively atmosphere. If you want that big, family-style Southern meal that makes you feel like you're eating at Grandma's, Mama's Farmhouse is the kind of place folks here talk about fondly. Known for its all-you-can-eat skillet meals filled with fried chicken, biscuits, mashed potatoes, and other country favorites for the ultimate comfort food delight. Blue Moose Burgers and Wings hits the spot with classic Americana, and it's the kind of place that's easy to slip into after a day of Dollywood thrills or parkway exploring. We're talking juicy burgers, wings with a bunch of flavor options, and a laid-back sports bar vibe. And for a classic diner experience that feels like Pigeon Forge in a nutshell, Sunliner Diner offers big portions of breakfast and lunch favorites all day long. With pancakes, omelets, sandwiches, and comfort food staples, it's one of those everyone loves this place stops that's perfect if you're feeding a group before more sightseeing. Sorry if we forgot to name some of your favorite spots, but it's clear from the sheer range of food that neither Gatlinburg nor Pigeon Forge disappoints. So both get a point here. Where to stay? When it comes to iconic places right in the heart of the action, Bearskin Lodge on the river is one of the first names people mention. This classic Gatlinburg hotel sits right on the Little Pigeon River. For something a bit more resort style with plenty of amenities, Westgate Smoky Mountain Resort and Water Park is a great choice, especially if you're traveling with kids. This place has an indoor-outdoor water park, fireplaces, and balconies, and it's close enough to Gatlinburg to make exploring easy. If you want a balance of comfort, great views, and easy access to both nature and town, the Park Vista, a DoubleTree by Hilton Hotel, Gatlinburg, is worth a look. Another standout that travelers love for its location and convenience is Courtyard by Marriott Gatlinburg downtown, which puts you close enough to walk to many of the town's main shops and attractions, which is perfect if you want to park once and forget the car. And for a more budget-friendly option that still gets excellent reviews for cleanliness and value, Sidney James Mountain Lodge, downtown Gatlinburg, delivers a simple, comfortable stay right downtown. Ideal if you want to spend more on activities and less on your room. Because Gatlinburg leans more upscale and walkable, it tends to appeal more to couples and travelers looking for atmosphere. Because when vacationing with 3 kids, every dollar counts. But that doesn't mean Pigeon Forge is lagging behind. Now let's look at lodging options in Pigeon Forge. When you're staying right in the heart of Pigeon Forge and want something classic and comfortable, River Place Inn is a popular pick. It sits right on the parkway and feels like a home away from home with cozy rooms, free Wi-Fi, and even a seasonal outdoor pool. Its location makes it easy to walk to restaurants, shops, and some attractions without always hopping in the car, which is a nice convenience on a busy vacation day. If your idea of a perfect stay includes splashing and smiling without leaving the property, Country Cascades Water Park Resort delivers. This hotel has its own indoor water park right on site with slides, a lazy river, and sunny pool areas, which makes it a fun choice for families with kids who want playtime just steps from their room. For something that feels a bit themed and scenic, Dollywood's Dreammore Resort and Spa is part of the Dollywood experience. Guests here enjoy priority access to the park, a full-service spa, and amenities that feel like a little mini vacation inside your vacation. Because of the wide range of budget-friendly and family-focused hotels, Pigeon Forge clearly appeals more to families and larger groups. Why? The town's lodging options don't just stop at standard rooms. You'll find full water park resorts, purpose-built family stays, themed experiences, and properties that cater specifically to kids and group amenities. So when it comes to overall stay experience and atmosphere, Gatlinburg takes the point here. Weather. Before we decide, let's talk about weather and the best time to visit. We all know that when you go is just as important as where you go. Your weather can be the difference between a totally unforgettable experience and a depressing hotel room boredom in these two Smoky Mountain towns. However, because both towns are only 7 to 8 miles apart, the weather will be pretty much the same for both Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. If you're thinking about spring, this can be one of the sweetest times to visit both Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge because the mountains start to wake up from winter with wildflowers, mild temperatures, and fewer crowds. In Gatlinburg, late spring brings warmer days that make exploring the Great Smoky Mountains National Park really enjoyable before the summer heat kicks in, and many hiking trails become lush and full of blossoms. In Pigeon Forge, spring from March through May also has comfortable weather. Daytime highs generally in the 60s and 70s, and festivals like the Flower and Food Festival at Dollywood add color and fun to your trip while lowering hotel rates compared with summer. Summer is prime for full-on adventure in both towns, but you should be ready for heat and humidity. If you love fall colors, late September through October might be the most striking time to visit either town. Fall foliage in the Smokies is legendary, with peak hues typically in mid-October, offering picture-perfect views and great autumn walking weather. In Pigeon Forge, fall also brings harvest celebrations and Dollywood seasonal events, making this a vibrant time to be there. The trade-off? This is one of the busiest seasons, so book lodging early, and you'll want reservations for everything. Winter turns both Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge into cozy mountain escapes with chilly air and occasional snow at higher elevations. But nothing like the deep snow you might find farther north. Temperatures often range from the 30s into the 50s, so you still get mountain views without severe cold. Pro tip: be aware that some outdoor attractions and higher elevation roads can close temporarily due to ice or snow, especially in deep winter. So check ahead before planning a hiking-heavy trip. Bottom line, it's best to visit Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge in late spring and fall, because you get pleasant weather, active outdoor experiences, and seasonal events without the peak summer crowds. And practically, both towns are winners here. Budget. Now let's break down the budget. Which town is easier on your wallet? At the end of the day, the real bottom line question you really want answered: is Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge kinder to your wallet? When you start adding up everyday travel costs, I'm talking lodging, food, parking, and attractions, Pigeon Forge generally comes out as the more budget-friendly option compared with Gatlinburg. That's not just vibe, it's what a bunch of visitor guides and travel comparisons show when they look at typical prices and traveler habits. For example, average hotel rooms in Pigeon Forge tend to run lower, often about $100 to $200 a night, whereas similar rooms in Gatlinburg average closer to $150 to $300 nightly, because Gatlinburg's proximity to the national park and its walkable downtown make the town much more desirable. It's also worth mentioning how other day-to-day costs stack up. Like, for example, in Pigeon Forge, parking at many attractions and venues tends to be free or low cost, and the town simply has more chain and budget-friendly dining and hotel options. In other words, you can stretch your entertainment and meals further without blowing your budget. But that's not the case with Gatlinburg. Those same areas, especially downtown, charge for parking, and dining and accommodation near the park entrance often lean toward mid-range or higher price points. So in a nutshell, when it comes to giving you more stretch for your dollar, Pigeon Forge gets the point. But who's the winner? Final verdict: Gatlinburg versus Pigeon Forge. Well, if we tally up all the points, Pigeon Forge wins attractions and budget, while Gatlinburg wins transportation and accommodation. Food and weather are ties. Since ties count for both towns, that puts Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge at 4 points each. That means there's no clear overall winner. It really comes down to what kind of trip you want. If you're traveling as a family and want the most entertainment for your money, Pigeon Forge is the better fit. But if you're visiting as a couple and care more about walkability, atmosphere, and mountain charm, Gatlinburg is hard to beat. Neither town is a bad choice, far from it. You just have to decide what kind of vacation you want before you book. So which one would you choose? Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge?